Hello YouTube. So it's again time for another upgrade on the 2025 Ranger Raptor. So if you watched my previous installation of this this kicker 10-inch hideaway sub, I did a little video previously on installing one of these in the back of the truck and taking out the factory B&O subwoofer and putting in the kicker key lock line out converter, and that went really well. And I had this in there for a very short amount of time, and the reason I settled on this this kicker powered sub is because I couldn't find what I really wanted to go into this truck. It's funny that if you do a search for 24, 25 Ranger Raptor subwoofer enclosures, nothing really comes up. And I was like, well, that's kind of disappointing. But if you go all the way back and do a search for 2019 and up, you will find this JL Audio subwoofer enclosure. And this is not powered, you have to put an amplifier in, but this is the one that goes inside the console. And the cabs on these have been the same for years, nothing changed. So it didn't say 24, 25 or up, but I took a gamble and I bought it, and it fits in great. So you take out this little cubby hole right here out of the back of your truck, this little storage box. We'll see what this looks like. So this comes out from here. You just pop a couple clips out, and this thing just comes right out. And that JL Audio, it's a 300 watt sub. It plugs right in, and it comes with a little, there's your speaker connections on the side, rated at 300 watts nominal. And on the bottom, there's a threaded fitting where you're supposed to drill through the bottom of your cab, and they give you a little kit for that. But it might be a safety thing. It might be to actually suck this thing down to the sheet metal a little bit better, so there's no chance that the enclosure is going to vibrate. And then if you mount this thing solid, I think this sub here is going to hit a little bit harder because this doesn't have the ability to move around so much. But so yeah, we're probably going to drill the hole in the bottom. And now I had to get an amp, so I ended up with this kicker CXA 400.1. 300 watts into 2 ohms, and this is a 2 ohm enclosure here. And then I had to make a new aluminum plate to go in because I didn't want to drill holes. So this will go in, and it will mount to the same place the stock subwoofer went. So that will actually bolt down right there. I'm still going to use the kicker key lock because you need this to give you a flat curve for your bass signal. And then I also took out the previous 10 gauge wire that I ran, and I went ahead for the bigger amp, and I redid the whole thing, and I ran 8 gauge wire and 8 gauge ground, which grounds to this little point right here. So the only 2 wires I have to hook up are the constant battery, which will go into the amp with the 8 gauge, and then the blue for the amplifier remote turn on. And then of course just a speaker wire down to the sub enclosure. So we're going to put that in, and I think it's going to sound a lot better. And don't get me wrong, the kicker hideaway sounded good, but I just wanted something a little bit more. So I'm glad I found that, and it's considerably more money for this this subwoofer. If you can find one, they're running about $1,100 right now. But over the years, JL Audio has never let me down. They make fantastic subwoofers. And this is a fiberglass enclosure, and it should sound absolutely beautiful in there. And then when I put the hideaway sub in, I ended up making these custom brackets right here, which now I no longer need. So if there's anybody out there that is thinking about putting a 10-inch kicker hideaway sub in their Ranger Raptor, you leave me a comment down below. You send me the money for shipping, and I will send you these brackets and all the hardware required to put it in. So not going to need those anymore. But so anyway, we're probably going to start by setting this subwoofer down inside there, and then there's a kit. They give you a little wax pad. You put the screw in, you press it down in there to dimple the bottom to give you a reference point, and that's what you use to drill the hole. So we're going to start with that. Here we are in the back seat. Now they provide this little wax pad right here. You just peel and stick it on, and you stick it on right on this edge here, and right where it ramps down right here. And then they give you this really long 3/8/16 set screw, You screw it in till where there's only about 1/8 of an inch sticking out above the surface here. And then you go ahead and you set the sub down in there, and you just kind of put it where it goes, and you press down, and it leaves a little witness on the wax pad right there. And then you go ahead and do a center punch, and then just drill an 1/8 inch starter hole, which I already did, and it goes all the way down through the bottom. Now underneath this, on the bottom of the truck, there's a heat shield. And the instructions say they want you to drill through the sheet metal and then through the heat shield. And then you go ahead and you run this stud out, because this stud is probably about 1.5 inches long. You back this out, and then you set it down in there, and then wherever pokes out, you put the washer, you put the lock washer, and then you put the nut on it. But the problem with this is what they provide. I'll have this out here in a minute, but this is a black oxide set screw. And if you know anything about black oxide and water, it is going to rust very quickly. So you can see how long this thing is, and it just goes all the way up inside the box. So, and it's crazy long. I mean, it doesn't need to be this long. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath, and I'm going to remove the heat shield because there's a gap. So that is just way too long. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a stainless steel bolt and come back up with the lock washer, the flat washer, and I'm going to go right up against the bottom of the tub right here, instead of going through the heat shield. And let's see if I can get underneath the truck and see what this looks like. And there's a gap between the heat shield, and so that screw comes out. It's going to be hard to see, but that hole comes through right about there is where it comes out. And then there's a gap. This heat shield is not tight against the underside of your body. So if you put that nut and that lock washer and that flat washer up there and tighten it up, it's going to collapse, and it's going to deform your heat shield. So there's only a couple of screws and a plastic insert. There's a couple here, there's one in the middle, and there's 2 at the very back. It's only going to take a couple minutes, but I think I'm going to drop this heat shield and move it out of the way, and then bolt the sub up tight against the actual sheet metal of the cab, and then just put the heat shield back up. And that way you're never going to see it, and it's not going to deform that heat shield. It's just this punched little aluminum thing, and for most people that's probably okay, but for me it's not. I don't like doing things like that, and it's just a quick and dirty way to install this thing. And then once you drill the hole, you just go ahead and peel this wax back up, and there's your reference hole right there. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that heat shield down, get this bolted in. I've got to run the speaker wire, and we'll come back when I get a little bit further on this. All right, so once you drill that 3/8 hole out the bottom, it comes out right here above the leading edge of the muffler. But get up in there, clean up all the burrs and everything off of it. Drill the hole, 1/8 inch hole, all the way down through the heat shield. Once you unbolt the heat shield, you can't really get it out, but you can move it around. And I got a position here between the drive shaft and the muffler. And then I just took a giant unibit like this, step drill. Take that step drill, get up in there, and what I did is I made the hole just a ginormous hole that the bolt and the washer are going to fit through. So I'm going to bolt this in, put this back up in place, and then if I ever need to remove this subwoofer, I can get down in here, I can get in here with a 9/16 socket, and I can take out the bolt and the washers and not have to take this heat shield out again. There was one more hidden bolt, so it's 6 bolts to get this out, and there's lots of room to move it around up in here. So you got plenty of room to work on it. There's a bunch of room above it. So you can get a clearance hole in there if you want, and then put it back, and then you can take that bolt out down the road without having to take the heat shield out again. So got that ready to go back in. So now I'm going to bolt run the speaker wire, get the bolt bolted up inside here, and then it'll be time to finish this thing up. Ready to set this sub enclosure down inside this cavity. Now, test fitting this thing earlier, I did have to take this thing and turn it around 180 degrees, because with these pointing upwards, they were going to hit the sheet metal on the back side here, and I wanted to use these banana jack connectors here so I could get them in and out pretty easily without having to try to find the little holes in the center of the binding posts and get the wires in there. But there's a big hole under here. You can kind of see there's a big cavity there, and when this is installed, you can kind of look down through this hole right here and see that your connections aren't coming in contact with anything. And there's a big hole under here if you lift this carpet up a little bit, there's a giant hole under there that the wires will feed through, and then they roll up along the body real nice. I got to put this plastic panel back in, and the speaker wires come over here, and all this stuff's wired up, like a power ground, speaker wires, and that's going to wrap that up. So all I have to do is drop this subwoofer in, and then I'm going to go underneath, and I'm going to use this bolt up from the bottom, stainless bolt, and I'll bolt that up, and then I'll put the heat shield back in, and we should be ready to put the last fuse in this thing and fire it up. We are at the end of this video, and I got this thing bolted in, and I would recommend, a lot of people are putting these things in and not bolting them down. I would recommend bolting this thing down and sucking that enclosure down to the sheet metal. This JL Audio 10-inch sub is pretty punchy, so you don't want this thing moving around. And you know, if down the road you ever had to service it, you wouldn't have to take the enclosure out. Just take the screws out and pull the woofer out of there and see what's going on with it. So everything in here is done. It's all wired up. This is the kicker key lock line out controller. This little light right here tells you that you've got a flat bass response coming out of your factory amplifier. And if you want to toggle that, there's a little switch right here on the side. Now you have the factory sound coming out. So you can compare the two, but it definitely sounds a whole lot better with the equalized bass signal. And the reason I stuck with a kicker amp is because I already took the time and ran the bass knob all the way up to the front of the truck, and you know, I ripped the whole console out of this thing to get this wire in there and get that bass knob mounted. But this is it. This is it. It's all done, and it actually sounds really good, especially with you're not gonna be able to hear this on the video, but the bass knob is right down here. I recessed it back inside here so it's accessible, but it doesn't stick out, so I'm not gonna bump it with anything. And putting music on MP4s on a thumb drive down here and just leaving it plugged in gives you all of your music. You can scroll through. I mean, I think I got like 500 songs on this thumb drive. And if you have album artwork from your computer, it will bring up all your album artwork will come up also. And so yeah, it sounds really good. And you know, the kicker hideaway sub sounded good, but this JL Audio one, I gotta tell you, it's like 10x what that other one gives you. I mean, it's more like a real sub. And so yeah, that's about it. And I don't know if the earlier models had this, but the 25 Raptors, you can activate Ranger Raptors, you can activate Amazon Alexa. So, well, there she goes, she's listening already. But I haven't figured out how to get Alexa to advance a song, but I can go.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
All right, see, Alexa, tell me a joke. Alexa, tell me a joke.
Hey, Superman, want to do the heavy lifting?
Sure. What is my favorite part of Metropolis? The supermarket. Get it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're never going to get Alexa to tell you a joke like two nuns and a midget walk into a bar. But anyway, so that's it for this video. I hope you guys got some information out of it. Really happy with that installation. I just got to go ahead and put the seat back in and call this thing done, and down the road I go. And thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.